听专家解读美国升学方案，看美国学习生活点滴，圆美国名校梦想。本节目由美国文美教育集团冠名播出。
大家好，欢迎收看文美集团美国升学直通车。文美集团美国升学直通车是华人网和文美教育集团联合制作播出的北美首档大型的网络直播教育节目。在我们的节目当中，你将会了解到最新最权威的教育资讯，还有升学的建议。无论是学生还是家长，有任何的美国升学教育问题，都可以给我们留言。首先呢，还是给大家介绍一下文美集团。美国文美集团，美国大学申请规划服务第一品牌，20年经验，万博士领衔常春藤顾问团队，中美双顾问模式服务一个学生，按照大学录取学校排名收费，与孩子形成利益共同体。华人老品牌，值得您的信赖。文美集团隆重推出 ACAP 大学专业及职业测评规划管理系统，华人升学机构首创，完美解决华人学生最大升学痛点。人工智能提前锁定大学专业方向，提前2到5年布局申请。有了专业测评系统，孩子的课程规划更清晰，活动更聚焦，文书更有故事感，大学申请更有竞争力。5到11年级学生都可以报名参加测评。文美集团1对1非营利组织成立运营领导力项目，让孩子从参与者变为领导者，真正成长、成人、成才进名校。5到11年级学生均可报名参加。文美集团社会影响力联合国网络义工课程，节省孩子时间，做名校认可的社会影响力，高大上义工。5到11年级学生均可报名参加。今天我们邀请到前宾大的招生官，同时呢也是文美集团的规划部文科项目的主管 Miss Mehr 来和我们聊一聊哈，有 90% 的家庭的规划顺序其实都错了。那么高中4年的申请时间表，今天他会依次跟您讲清楚。下面我们有请 Miss Mehr。Hi,
welcome to our college counseling seminar. My name is Miss Mehr, and today I am going to be talking about the 4-year game plan. Okay, let's get right into it. We'll jump into how to build a college-ready profile starting now. So first I'll start about the 9th grade, the freshman year, which is the foundation year, 10th grade, which is the discovery year, 11th grade, which is the building year, and 12th grade, which is the storytelling year. And then towards the end, I'll give some closing comments as well. Okay, let's start with a hypothetical case study. I will introduce you a student and I'll call him Aiden. Aiden is 14 years old. It's September of his freshman year. He doesn't know what he wants to study in college. He doesn't have a thing yet. He's decent at school, curious about a lot of stuff, good with people, pretty normal 9th grader. But by the time Aiden is submitting his college applications 4 years later, he will have built one of the strongest profiles I have seen, and he'll earn admission to CMU to study computer science and social impact. But here's what I want you to understand. Aiden didn't get there by doing more. He got there by doing the right things at the right time. And that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about today and walking you through today. A strong college application is built over 4 years. It's not really assembled in a panic during senior years. And I do want to say that if you did not watch my previous video on the 3 biggest myths about elite admissions, I do suggest starting there. But this video, of course, works on its own too. So let's follow Aiden through all his 4 years. I'll tell you what he did, why it mattered, and what you should be doing if your child is at that stage. And also for families who feel behind, what actually still matters and what you can let go of. So the 9th grade, Aiden's story, it's October. Aiden's mom asked him after dinner, "So what clubs are you doing this year?" And here's what Aiden's mom did right without knowing it. She asked an open-ended question. She didn't just say, "You should join student council because it looks good." She just asked, and Aiden said, almost by accident, "There is this coding club. We are building a game. It's actually pretty cool." His mom said, "Tell me more." That conversation, that simple moment of genuine curiosity, planted the seed for everything that followed it. What Aiden actually did in grade 9, now I'll walk you through that, joined one extracurricular activity that genuinely interested him, which is the coding club, took the standard recommended courses, including honors classes that he liked, focused on getting organized academically. He was learning how to manage workload and developing good study habits. Had no SAT prep at this time, and that's totally fine. Hadn't really done college research at this point, which is totally fine as well in 9th grade. So I'll tell you what 9th grade is actually for. 9 out of 10 families I work with believe 9th grade is the start of the college resume. In a way, I would say it's really not. 9th grade is the start of the person. Here's what the year's really for. A, building strong academic habits and baseline GPA that's hard to recover from if you lose it. Trying a genuine few things and noticing what actually lights you up. Thirdly, learning to manage your own time, not just because a parent told you to, but because you start to care about the outcomes. And finally, building real relationships with teachers who you might even need recommendation letters from for internships, summer programs, etc. So I would say, in a nutshell, in the 9th grade, you are planting seeds. You don't harvest them. For parents of 9th graders, I would say just notice what your child lights up about, ask what is interesting, not what grade they got, not just that. Resist the urge to schedule their entire weekend with activities that look good. Let some of this year be genuinely exploratory. And another thing I would say for parents is please try to make sure your child knows at least one teacher, counselor, or club advisor by name, someone who would recognize them in the hallway and know something real about them. Their relationships do matter. They matter a lot, more than you realize today. So in a nutshell, the checkpoint end of grade 9 would be GPA solid. Your child has tried at least one extracurricular activity that they really enjoy. Your child has at least one teacher who knows them by name and by interest. You don't necessarily have to start studying for SAT in grade 9. Instead of focusing on that, I would actually recommend that you focus on school and major exploration. If your 9th grader is now a 10th or 11th grader and you're watching this video wishing you had started earlier, I'd say take a breath. The habits and seeds I described can be planted in 10th grade too, with slightly more intention. What genuinely cannot be recovered from is a catastrophic GPA drop in the 9th grade. If that happened, focus on a strong upward grade trajectory from here. Colleges do respond to growth. So let's say grade 9 was a very hard year, didn't get the desired scores. Admissions officers would see if you did very well in grade 9, grade 10, 11, and so on. So that's important. I do always like to tell my students that 10th grade is the discovery year. So now going back to Aiden's story in grade 10, by October of sophomore year, Aiden has gone from building a game in the coding club to helping run the club's project team. He also discovered something unexpected. He cares about whether other people understand the code or not just whether it runs. He's now stopping to explain things to new members. His mom notices this and says, "You seem to like teaching it." Aiden shrugs. "I guess I do." The shrug is the beginning of his spike, quite literally. So what Aiden did in 10th grade, continued the coding club and stepped into leadership role, not because it looks good, but because he genuinely wanted to help. I do want to say that admissions officers love growth. They like seeing that you go from like a member to becoming a leader, because growth really, really matters. Aiden started volunteering one afternoon a week, teaching basic coding to middle schoolers at a local library program. Took his first AP class, AP computer science, because this is a subject that he loves and it kind of is something that he genuinely cared about. Took the practice SAT, no formal prep, just exposure to the format. Also had a brief conversation with his school counselor about his interest, the first of the several ones in the following years. I just want to sum it up here, what 10th grade is usually for. In the 10th grade, patterns should start to emerge. This is the year to look at what your child gravitates towards when nobody is forcing them, and then take one intentional step deeper in that direction. Not 10 steps, I would say one. So start to identify the spike in the 10th grade, the area of genuine depth, even if it's still forming. I would say begin building visible evidence, a project, a program, a role that shows the interest is real, because admissions officers, as mentioned earlier, love evidence. Thirdly, take challenging courses that connect with the student's interests. Have the PSAT on the radar. It sets the baseline for the SAT prep. And I would also say, like, begin a loose list of college names, of course, not a finalized list, just schools that sound interesting to explore over time. Start doing some of your school research in grade 10 as well. So for parents of 10th graders, I would say this is the year to have one honest, calm conversation about the future. Not where do you want to go to college, that's too abstract and often produces anxiety. Instead, ask students, what do you find yourself thinking about when nobody's asking you to think about anything? And then listen to the answer, even if it kind of seems impractical. That is often where the spike really lives. Also, if your child has not taken the PSAT this fall, register them. The PSAT is a diagnostic. It tells you where they are and where SAT prep needs to focus on. So the checkpoints, end of grade 10, GPA is stable. It's good. There's upward trajectory there. A clear area of genuine interest has emerged. At least one activity that shows evidence of depth through leadership, continuation, project. AP class selection is connected to interest, not just on how many APs I can take. PSAT has been taken, score reviewed, kind of have created an SAT plan, and then the casual college list of 10 to 15 schools has started. There's no pressure there, but I would recommend that some of the school research starts. If you're watching this as a junior or senior, here's the honest assessment. The discovery phase is over. You're working with what's there. The most important thing now is to look at the activities and interests you already have on the table and identify which one can be framed as a thorough line. You're not starting over, you're just finding the story in what already exists. So 11th grade is really the building year. Now, going back to Aiden's story, junior year hits Aiden like a wave. He's taking 3 AP classes, the SATs on the calendar. His teachers are suddenly talking about the letters of recommendations. His parents have found 7 college ranking websites. Everyone is tense. But Aiden has something a lot of his peers don't. A thorough line. The coding plus teaching thing that started in 10th grade has grown into something very visible, something very evident, which admissions officers really care about. He's now running the library tutoring program himself with 12 volunteers he recruited. He applied for and received a small grant from a local community foundation to build materials. He's been invited to speak at a school board meeting about digital literacy. When Aiden sits down to brainstorm his college essay topic in March of junior year, he doesn't stare at a blank page for long. He knows what his story is. So what Aiden did in 11th grade, took the SAT in October and December, aiming for his goal score, not perfection, deepened his community program, added volunteers, secured funding, presented publicly, took the most rigorous coursework offered at his school, built genuine relationships with 2 teachers who would later write his strongest recommendation letters, did some college tours as well, drafted a preliminary college list, began thinking about essay topics in spring for his personal statement. So in a nutshell, what 11th grade is really for. 11th grade is really for to make the spike visible and externally validated as possible, identifying and cultivating the 2 teachers who can write you the strongest letters. The teachers should know you, respect you, and have seen you at your best. And of course, you should have done very well academically in those courses as well, because admissions officers are always scanning for things like the exact student and the top 5% in the class, the top 10% in my class. And of course, you have to be there so the teacher can state that. Get your testing done. Aim to finish the SAT and ACT, and begin your school list construction. You should really look at the program strength, fit, and when building the school list, it's important that it's a balanced school list with reaches, targets, safety, schools in there. That is really the key. And also start like a brag sheet for your college recommendation letters. You can talk about the traits that you want the teacher to highlight. It's more like a cover letter that you can submit. So teachers can talk about some of the traits that you would want them to highlight in your recommendation letter. Some schools have like a different process for securing a recommendation letter where they give their own document, but some schools don't, where you can create your own brag sheet / cover letter and send it to the teachers for securing a recommendation letter as well. I do want to make a note for parents of 11th graders. I know 11th grade is very important and kind of feels like a race. It kind of is, but the right response to a race is not to run faster in every direction. It's to run in the right direction with intention. And the most important thing you can do this year is help your child identify and start a genuine relationship with a teacher, a counselor, if they don't already have one, not to take over the process, but of course, help them in finding their story. And of course, we're building a school list, be strategic and make sure that it is balanced. I do also want to mention a little bit about SAT here. I do not recommend that students take SAT more than 3 times. Per my experience, after the 3rd attempt, the score is pretty stagnant. So for that reason, I recommend that, if hopefully you take it for the first time, you get your desired score and then you're done. I would recommend the max would be the spring of your junior year. But if you really have to take it again, you can take it again in June. but I don't recommend you push it to August. A lot of students push it to August, and August result comes in just a couple of days before your early decision application goes in, and it's a very, very tight timeline there. And of course, your SAT score influences our school list as well. So for that reason, I recommend you get done with SAT by June max before your applications go in. So the checkpoint of end of grade 11 would be your standardized testing is complete. You have identified 2 school teachers who can write your recommendation letters. You've secured those. And the spike is visible, and you have at least one form of external validation. You have drafted your college list, done some college tours as well, thinking about your personal statement. And the other big thing would be you started working on your activities list. I do recommend that you start working on your activities list ASAP. As soon as you enter your high school, create like a working document and have your activities listed there in the Common App format if possible. And just make sure, like, of course, by the end of grade 11, your activity list is fully updated, because that would be very, very important. Now, the 12th grade is the storytelling year. So now going back to Aiden's story, August before senior year, Aiden does something that surprises his parents. He tells them he doesn't want to do 15 college application drafts and visiting schools obsessively. He wants he wants clarity there. He wants 2 weeks of dedicated work, then to move forward with clarity. He sits down, maps his applications. Now he narrows down to 8 schools. He writes his Common App essays, works on his activities list, his personal statement, supplements, everything is ready. He submits his ED application to CMU on November 1st, and by December 15th, he's in. Aiden gets in. So the fall of your senior year, and on top of that, the summers prior to that would really be you working on your application stuff. I would say by June, start working on your personal statement and activities list. And by August, when the Common App refreshes and the supplements are released, just start working on the supplements for your colleges. Start with your ED or restrictive early action school. Start writing those essays starting August. And also for your early action schools, you can start with those once you're done with your ED/restrictive early application. And for students in grade 12 right now, if you're watching this as a senior and feeling behind, I want you to do 3 things after listening to this video. Write down the 5 most meaningful things you have done in high school. Not the most impressive, but the meaningful things. This can be like a raw material for your essays, and of course your activities list. And I think that would help you with really coming up with the theme of your application as well, because theme is really the key. Like, what do I want to highlight, and just make sure that everything is cohesive. And I'll go ahead and give you like a summary of what I discussed in detail earlier. If you're in 9th grade, use this year for exploration. Pick one thing that genuinely you want to try, build one relationship with the teacher, do well in class. If you're in 10th grade, start paying attention to the patterns. What do you like the most? What do you do when you have free time? And because that's really your data. And then take one step deeper into that interest of yours, that genuine interest of yours in grade 10. And in grade 11, this year is very, very important. Obviously, finish your testing, make sure your spike is visible. And of course, make sure you're building relationships with the recommenders this year. You have started with your school list. And if you, of course, are in grade 12 right now, then obviously right now it's April, but if you were in the fall, let's say in the 12th grade, I would say start writing essays that are honest and specific. Research each school before you write essays for them, because schools do not like essays which can be used for pretty much every school or any school. They want to see that the essays are very school specific, and you can really put together a strong application if you can identify a theme and then kind of connect all threads with those. That would be very, very important for you in your senior year. I think this is all that I have for today. Hope this session was helpful for you. And I will see you next time. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care. Bye for now. Bye-bye.
谢谢 Miss Mehr 今天和我们的分享。如果你有任何的问题呢，都可以直接来咨询文美集团。美国文美集团，美国大学申请规划服务第一品牌，20年经验，万博士领衔常春藤顾问团队，中美双顾问模式服务1个学生，按照大学录取学校排名收费，与孩子形成利益共同体。华人老品牌，值得您的信赖。文美集团隆重推出 ACAP 大学专业及职业测评规划管理系统，华人升学机构首创，完美解决华人学生最大升学痛点。人工智能提前锁定大学专业方向，提前2到5年布局申请。有了专业测评系统，孩子的课程规划更清晰，活动更聚焦，文书更有故事感，大学申请更有竞争力。5到11年级学生都可以报名参加测评。文美集团1对1非营利组织成立运营领导力项目，让孩子从参与者变为领导者，真正成长、成人、成才进名校。5到11年级学生均可报名参加。文美集团社会影响力联合国网络义工课程，节省孩子时间，做名校认可的社会影响力，高大上义工。5到11年级学生均可报名参加。感谢大家的收看，我们下次再见。